I've somehow found myself stumbling down the 60s and 70s samurai movies rabbit hole. I should have worded that differently. I'm not really sure how I got here. I think it started with the 6 Lone Wolf and Cub movies, and then I moved on to the 2 Lady Snowblood movies, and before I know it, I'm bookmarking Yojimbo and Sanjuro, Hanzo the Razor, and all 25? Yeah, 25 Zatoichi movies. 25. Fuck. Anyway, in all of this, I happened to stumble upon the Nemuri Kiyoshiro. This is gonna be hard. Which caught my eye because in the US, it's hilariously titled the Sleepy Eyes of Death series. And so I thought, well, this is as good a place to start as any. And I figured I'd drag you guys along with me for no good reason. So here's the first one. So as near as I can figure it, Nemuri Kiyoshiro was a character in a series of books released in the 1950s, and subsequently was turned into a TV series and multiple film franchises. But the one I'm going to focus on is a series of movies, 14 movies released between 1963 and 1969. But if you're at all familiar with these movies, you might be thinking, wait, Joe, there's only 12 movies in the Sleepy Eyes of Death series. Well, yes and no, because they made 12 movies with one guy playing the title role. And he died, I think, in the making of the 12th movie. But considering it was a fairly popular franchise, the studio went ahead and made 2 more movies recasting the role after that. But whenever you look up DVD box sets of these films, they always leave off the last 2 movies. And I'm an idiot and a completist, so I'm counting the last 2 movies. Now, I've noticed that a lot of these samurai films have a gimmick, something that sets them apart from the other films out there. For instance, Zatoichi is about a blind samurai. The Lone Wolf and Cub films are about an assassin with a toddler. Now, as near as I can figure it, when everyone talks about the Nemuri Kiyoshiro films, they talk about 3 things. First, that he's very nihilistic and pessimistic. Second, that he has one cool sword move. And 3, that he's the son of a white missionary and a Japanese woman. That 3rd thing doesn't come into this movie at all, so I can't really speak to that. And the other 2 things are kind of there. Because here's the deal. Kiyoshiro doesn't really have a deal. He's just some dude who doesn't give a shit about anyone and just minds his own business. The Sleepy Eyes of Death 1, Chinese Jade, is about 2 warring clans who are each trying to hire Kiyoshiro to fight on their behalf because they hear how great of a swordsman he is. And he keeps telling them, no, I don't want to get involved in any of this. But then he gets bored, so he just like goes around and starts killing their ninjas for his own amusement, which kind of makes him a hypocrite when later on in the film he boasts about how honorable he is, and he says, no, you're not. The whole reason that you're in this mess to begin with is because you kept answering these people's calls and told them to f*** off. For the most part, the film is serviceable. It's decently interesting and decently entertaining. There's very little action, and what action there is has very little style. But it's got a few scenes where they just kind of throw ninjas at him. That's kind of the problem with this movie, is that I don't really know how strong the main character is, or what his weaknesses are. Kiyoshiro takes out like 10 ninjas at a time, and that's pretty much it. Which is part of the problem, because I don't really know how strong this guy is. In something like the Lone Wolf and Cub movies, we know exactly how good Ito Agami is, because everything about the style emphasizes every single action. So when he wins, we know how he wins. when someone tries to trick him, they have to come up with a brand new trick to try to overcome him every time. And he has to come up with a new strategy to overcome that obstacle. So when he fails, we know how he fails, we know what his weaknesses are, and we know just how much of a badass he is. With this guy, it's like he does this one move and 10 ninjas just fall down, and that's it. So I don't know if he's really that good, or if everyone else is just that terrible at fighting. Actually, there is one pretty cool fight scene towards the end, where the main character is pitted up against a guy of Chinese descent who is known for fighting without a sword. So it's like, you know, the main character is with this big sword, and then this other guy is just using his bare hands. And what do you know? The guy who plays this character also played Ito Ogami in the Lone Wolf and Cub movies. So maybe it says something. Maybe I just really like that actor. I hope he's in future movies.
He dies because he doesn't have a sword.
He didn't die. He caught the guy's sword.
Ow.
That happened like all the time in Lone Wolf and Cub. Like people would be catching swords all over the place.
Ow.
And this one he makes a big deal about it. He's like, I cut your sword. Ultimately, the movie is more interested in melodrama than it is in action. There's a lot of plotting, a lot of scheming, a lot of talking. There's a semi-romantic, semi-tragic love story just kind of shoehorned in there. Feels really out of place. Because, I don't know, chicks love Kiyoshiro.
いやそんな私はその刀が一緒にくいやら恨めしいやら
He's so bland and personality-less and amoral. He's got the thing he does with his sword over again. He seriously has like one move he does with his sword, like over and over again the whole movie. Everyone talks about how great that move is. Like that move is amazing. Dude. Like one ninja comes up to him and says like, can you kill me in like that really cool move you do? And he's like, oh yes. And then the guy dies.
What the crap?
Anyway, I'm curious to see where the series goes. The idea of a hero who's just kind of indifferent to everything and starts shit for his own amusement has potential to be different. I don't know, you don't see that every day, so I'm interested. As far as the first movie in this series goes, though, it's just okay. Not that great. Certainly not looking up and seeking out if you have a hard time finding it, but whatever. And if you are interested in watching The Sleepy Eyes of Death 1, the Chinese Jade, you can rent it on Amazon and Vudu, and if you have a library card, you can check it out online on Hoopla, which is a thing that exists that probably nobody knows about, but I watch so many movies on that. It's pretty great. And if you have nothing to do but sit around watching samurai movies all day, you can buy a DVD box set of the first 4 movies on Amazon for like $50. Go ahead, throw your money away at that. It'll be fun. Sad excuse of a human being, you. I don't know, maybe the films get better. Maybe like the next 3 are amazing. And I'll be like, oh man, I need to buy that set now. I really hope I see it through all these movies, because like 13 is like a lot of movies to get through, and I'm not a quitter. Like if the next 3 are just horrible, I won't be able to stop because I'm already in too deep. I have no life.